Tom Bower, the legendary royal author, is sharpening his quill for a new edition of his book set to reveal huge secrets inside Prince Harry and Meghan Markle's marriage.
And of course, the news today that Harry's memoir is going to be published in the near future will just alarm the royal family here in England about what he's actually going to say to earn his money.
Very aggressive PR for the Sussexes, got way beyond herself because she really doesn't understand the British royal family or Britain, but understands how to project her clients. And so I think she got it wrong by leaking it or even letting anyone know about it. I think personally, they've separated their professional lives, but I think what's really a great problem for them now, as of in the last few weeks, is that Meghan has got no real income anymore. She's finished.
Last week, we brought to you fresh news that Harry had been staying at the San Vicente bungalows to take a break from his family, despite owning a sprawling Montecito property together with Guesthouse. And this week, those rumours are intensifying.
A man who she abandoned for months to the media and now presents her mother, Doria, speaking for the first time, telling outright lies about her ex-husband. I mean, this was a calculated attempt against the family. But I do think that when you're mocked so publicly as they've been, their value begins to nosedive pretty quickly. And I don't think they're finding any more sources of income.
Tom Bower, the royal author who built a career exposing what powerful people try to hide, is back in the spotlight. This time he's preparing a new edition that promises to peel back the polished veneer and reveal what's really happening inside Prince Harry and Meghan Markle's marriage, details that could change the public's understanding of their entire story. Just when it seemed the rumors couldn't get louder, the narrative takes a sharp turn. Reports of Harry stepping away, staying elsewhere despite the Montecito home, aren't fading, they're escalating. And now, Tom Bower is claiming he's uncovered something far more explosive. A hidden clause inside their prenup, so specific it's allegedly pinpointed by page and clause number, signed by Harry without fully grasping what he was agreeing to.
Meghan herself.
And Meghan herself.
In the months before she met Harry, was setting up paparazzi pictures in London. She now acts as if the paparazzi are literally the devil incarnate.
She begged the paparazzi to photograph her and they wouldn't. And when they did, she says, "Oh, I don't want to, I'm hurt." And that ridiculous story about how they first met, the whole thing was a tissue of inaccuracies, to be polite.
Because what do you make of that? Because as you know, Harry was always very insistent.
If that's true, it reframes everything. The PR moves, the financial shifts, the quiet repositioning, and why Harry may be standing on the edge of losing far more than the public realizes. Before we even get to the clause itself, one question matters more than the rumor. Who could actually dig deep enough to find something like this and verify it? The story only holds weight if the person behind it has the credibility, access, and investigative muscle.
So many surprises, by the way, tucked away in your book. Everybody is already buzzing because you reveal that Simon is not a fan of Jennifer Lopez. I was not aware of this. You say he can't stand her. So set the record straight for us, Tom. What's his beef with J-Lo?
Well, he just found her just too vain and too self-interested, which seems like he met his own match. But in the end, Simon doesn't really like many celebrities. I noticed when I went with him to the Oprah Winfrey Show and many other places around Hollywood and elsewhere, he's a rather shy guy. He's always afraid of being associated with people who are bigger than him or who might put him in the...
To uncover details most people will never see. Bower's reputation isn't built on gossip. It's built on receipts. When he publishes, legal teams stand behind the claims because his work is designed to survive scrutiny. For revenge, he reportedly conducted dozens of interviews across palace circles, Hollywood connections, and legal insiders, building his case the way a litigator would, not the way social media does. So if he's pointing to evidence of prenup language, the implication is clear. This isn't guesswork. It's the kind of allegation that comes from conversations with people who were close enough to the paperwork to know what's real.
The fairy tale Prince Harry and Meghan Markle embarked on in 2016 become an absolute nightmare. for them. Despite marrying in St. George's Chapel in Windsor, it seems like life hasn't been so rosy for the couple. They have gone through endless challenges, the vast majority of which are all self-inflicted. And this weekend, we had some new news that seems to kind of reiterate the idea that Meghan Markle, she wants to go back to the past. She wants to relive her glory days because she has hired Sunshine Sachs as her new PR representatives.
Most prenups are simple. What's yours stays yours, what's shared gets divided, and timelines determine who gets what. But royal agreements aren't built for ordinary breakups. They're built to protect institutions. They can dictate titles, public conduct, media engagement, and the boundaries of what happens after separation. In other words, in this world, a marriage contract isn't just about money. It's about control, identity, and what you're still allowed to be once the relationship ends. Here's where the stakes become legally dangerous. California. In a community property state, what's earned during the marriage can be treated as jointly owned.
And what would Diana think of Harry attacking William in that way? She'd be appalled by her son's behavior. And that was, again, so nauseating, the way he kept on bringing in Diana. Diana, who appealed to the media all the time, who phoned journalists secretly, who brought Martin Bashir into her office, who cooperated with Andrew Morton, who kept on calling Richard Kay. I mean, this is ridiculous.
Deals, contracts, even certain inheritances depending on timing and structure. But Bauer's claim goes beyond a simple 50-50 split. He suggests the real fight is over ownership of the story itself, the brand, the ventures, and the intellectual property that turned their relationship into a revenue engine. And the most damaging detail, if true, is that this power shift wasn't baked in at the wedding. It was allegedly added later through an amendment Harry signed while trusting Meghan to protect their shared future.
Well, I do think the Sussex overdrive is unbelievable. But I mean, I don't think that he is going to get back in. I mean, I think that there are two reasons. One is I think that William wouldn't allow it. And secondly, the moment he got back to America, he immediately promoted Disney and his trip to Disney World, which showed that he is very commercially minded, which we'll get into later on, which makes it impossible for him. And of course, Meghan wouldn't come back to Britain.
Prenup amendments aren't rare. Couples update them when life changes. But what makes this alleged amendment feel like a turning point is the timing, the move, the reinvention, the deals, the brand building. The story being framed here is that Meghan, experienced, meticulous, and legally cautious from her prior divorce, would never enter a high-stakes partnership without protecting her earning potential first. And if Harry signed updates without the same level of scrutiny, then the marriage didn't just evolve emotionally. It may have evolved contractually in a way that quietly shifted leverage. As their business structure took shape, the claim is that the amendment didn't just secure money, it secured control. The narrative being laid out is simple but brutal.
Apparently Prince Harry is already talking to divorce lawyers?
So this is kind of interesting. This is the woman that the papers are citing for this reporting is a longtime royal insider, a socialite. She's been right. I've been following her because she's great TV. She's been right about a lot. And she's claiming she's heard from several sources now that he's hired a lawyer, and it happens to be somebody who's a great divorce lawyer and specializes in divorce. And it dovetails on other reports that he is spending a lot of his time in two hotels, one of which is in Montecito, another of which is not too far away, as an escape from her.
If Meghan is positioned as primary on registrations, first on documents, and favored in separation language, then the brand becomes less theirs and more hers the moment the marriage fractures. And that idea, that the legal groundwork for separation was being built during the exact period the public was being sold the reinvention, may be the most revealing part of all. Now the public-facing storyline tries to insist everything is fine. Promotional campaigns, curated messaging, carefully timed appearances. But the counter-story says the opposite. Strain, separation, and a quiet shift towards solo survival.
At that moment last year, she was about to promote her Netflix series and didn't want to firstly be seen with Harry, and secondly didn't want to go somewhere where she'd appear cheap.
and give it gratis. And this year, she is desperate to be seen.
Yeah.
And that's why she turned up. So I think she has a major problem, financially and professionally. And I think that Harry has a problem because he's lost his charity centre Bailey in Africa. He had better up on all these commercial deals.
The rehiring of Sunshine Sachs is framed as a strategic signal because crisis PR isn't just about reputation. It's about timing. If this interpretation is correct, then the PR isn't meant to save the marriage. It's meant to shape the narrative before the paperwork ever hits a courthouse. The pattern being argued here is an exit strategy blueprint. Build an identity that doesn't require your spouse, file trademarks alone, structure businesses separately, and make sure your income streams survive even if the relationship doesn't. And when you view the past few years through that lens, the shift from joint ventures to solo positioning stops looking like coincidence and starts looking like preparation. Even the headline numbers don't mean what the public thinks they mean.
Breaking right now, Prince Harry and Meghan Markle spent the week using the With Love Meghan promotional campaign to try and suggest that everything is rosy in their very, very rocky marriage. Not so fast, says Radar Online, which has revealed that the Sussex couple are now sleeping in separate beds. Let me take you through this bombshell, then we're going to get reaction from the royal YouTube sensation, according to Taz. Here's the report, though, from Radar Online. Meghan Markle and Prince Harry's marriage is said to be under major strain as backlash has gotten under the Duchess's skin so much that she's sleeping apart from her husband and wondering whether or not she would be more popular on her own, Radar Online can reveal. Amid ongoing rumours about the Sussexes' marriage being on the rocks, insiders told us Markle is cracking under the pressure of public scrutiny as she tries to claw her way back into Hollywood and launch her lifestyle brand.
Big entertainment deals aren't usually a single payout. They're performance-based ceilings tied to delivery. If projects stall, the money stalls. So the question becomes less, how much did they sign for? And more, how much did they actually receive? And where did it go? And from there, the narrative tightens. Trademark filings, separate entities, property structuring, account separation. Moves that in the divorce world look less like lifestyle management and more like asset protection choreography.
I would argue their Hollywood misadventure has been more of a nightmare than anything else. And they've gone from poor decision to bad decision to worse decision every single time. And with the hiring of Sunshine Sachs, I couldn't help but think, and Harry going back to the UK more or wanting to, can't help but think, if the two of them had a time machine and knowing what they know now, could have gone back to 2016, would they have made some different decisions?
The timeline prediction is what gives this story its countdown clock tension. If the strategy is real, then the moment of action would be tied to legal filing windows and residency rules. The implication is that the pieces aren't being moved randomly. They're being moved toward a specific deadline. And if so, then what the public sees as messy rumors may actually be the visible surface of a plan that's already in motion underneath. If divorce papers ever get filed, the consequences described here go far beyond headlines.
Meghan has got no real income anymore. She's finished.
Right.
The Netflix series is over. There's no great podcast. They don't generate any money. And I don't see where she is going from here. I think she has a major problem. And I think as of this week, the signal for her great problem is that she turned up at Kevin Costner's
titles, property, custody, business control, and, most critically, the right to monetize the royal story could all become locked behind legal language Harry may not have understood when he signed. That's why the intellectual property clause is framed as the real trap. Not just who gets money, but who gets the ability to keep telling and selling the narrative that made them valuable in the first place. The final framing is blunt.
Are they insane? What is happening? There is complete and utter chaos going on. The Meg and Harold are taking their rebrands far too literally at this point. Archewell, their charity effort, has not only changed its name from a foundation to Philanthropies, which is even worse branding, I might add. But there is a whole slew of drama going on behind the scenes.
This isn't being portrayed as a marriage drifting apart. It's being portrayed as a contract designed to determine who wins when it ends. The theory is that Harry senses something is wrong, but not what's written into the fine print, or how irreversible it may be. And that's the cliffhanger the video lands on.
The insider revealed Meghan has made it clear that if and when they do split, she would demand a hefty settlement and to keep her royal title. She won't go anywhere unless it's with a title, property, and a huge sack of money. Meghan will make a deal to protect herself. Wow. Tasha is with me now.
Yeah.
This is astonishing, but remember, it comes just weeks after that Vanity Fair bombshell that Meghan is already shopping the post-divorce book to publishers.
If the clause exists as described, then the biggest loss isn't just money or brand equity. It's that Harry may have signed away his future years ago without realizing it until it was too late.